Can you beat Kingdom Rush with only barracks? I've beaten it with all 3 other towers, so now it's time for the weakest one. Barracks are essentially a placeholder tower to stall enemies while nukes, spells, and arrows of death rain from above and actually deal damage. But can I use them to beat the entire game? After opening a new file and selecting normal for a good challenge, I entered level 1, aka the tutorial. Thankfully, I can place whatever towers I want. However, I can't upgrade them at all, so if spamming barracks doesn't work, then I'm kind of screwed. Even though I'm just spamming, there is a little bit of strategy. By placing the flags close together, I can group up all of them. Usually when soldiers fight enemies, it's a one-on-one battle, but although the enemies won't gank up on your soldiers, we don't have those kinds of morals, and with 9 scruffy-looking teenagers with wooden swords, we can do a lot of damage. I also unlocked the reinforcements for more damage on the ground and the rain and fire, which will both be essential to beating this challenge. I got 3 stars on the level and used those to buff up the barracks and the reinforcements before level 2. I unlocked level 2 towers, which doubles their life force, gives them some armor, and buffs their attack as well. Since the tower is essentially twice as good, it means upgrading for 110 coins is equal to buying a new one for 70 coins. And since 110 is obviously less than 70, it means I should just upgrade my towers instead of buying new ones. I really don't know what I was thinking, but it screwed me over in the last wave when droves of enemies made it past my defense and nearly caused me to lose it all. I thankfully clutched up and built a makeshift defense at the end to try and catch and kill as many enemies as I could, although I lost 6 lives in the process and finished the level with 2 stars. I upgraded my barracks once again and entered level 3, where things take a massive spike in difficulty. So far I've faced 3 enemies: goblins, orcs, and wolves. They all have annoying characteristics like mediocre health and a slow jog, but introduced here is the shaman. Because my men are so weak, we're relying on slow but steady chip damage to take down all of the enemies. It takes a while, but slow and steady wins the race, right? Well, the shaman has a fun mechanic where he comes along and wipes away all of our progress in 1 second by healing everyone. So I either have to single the shaman out when they're using multiple of them along with dozens of other enemies to worry about, or I have to use the rain of fire, which takes forever to respawn. I also didn't learn my lesson from level 2 and upgraded all of my reinforcements instead of spamming them. This caused me to get overrun and already have a defeat. At this point, I realized my mistake and had another idea for a strategy, but I also decided that I wanted some more stars. I beat the Iron and Heroic challenges for level 1, which got me enough stars for 4 upgrades on my barracks. With that, I re-entered the level and put a new strategy into place. I placed as many tier 1 barracks as I could, creating 3 main groups. A small one up here, a massive one in the center, and a medium group down below for the stragglers. After every square had been used, I started upgrading towers, and it worked like a charm. I still lost 7 lives, but I came out on top. I had so many soldiers that at the end I was fighting 2 ogres, and although they dealt massive damage to my soldiers, they respawned fast enough to infinitely stall the ogres out. I also realized that you can technically soft lock like this if the enemy respawns health and you'd be forced to just cut your losses and let the enemy through or wait there for all eternity. Anyway, level 4 unlocks tier 3 towers, which buffs health by another 50 points and seriously buffs their damage as well. Despite the improvements and the fact that I had Sir Gerald Lightseeker on my side, I had to face bandits and brigands. These guys deal a ton of damage and have a lot of health, so they're terrible for barracks. So many of them got through that I lost 17 lives and got my first 1 star on a level. There's not much else to talk about, so let's move on to an even worse level. Level 5 has 2 paths, and for once the spiders are okay. I spent the early levels grinding up Gerald, so by the time the matriarchs came out, Gerald can take them head on while the barracks clean up the little spiderlings. The problem is the left side, which spits out high damage and high armor enemies that I can't kill, and wargs and wolves that overwhelm my defense and sneak through. My first attempt was close, and I made it to round 14, but I eventually got overwhelmed and had to try it again. If you're enjoying, then subscribe for more like this every Monday. Thank you. Before I started level 5 again, I made a realization. Over here is a building that you can pay to rebuild and then pay to get elven soldiers on the ground. It's a bit pricey, but besides that, it's exactly the same as a barracks, so I figured it would be alright. I used some better strategy in the order I upgraded everything, and also got 4 elves on my side to take down wolves and a couple of enemies, and that was enough to get 2 stars on the level. Now, I don't want to be extreme, but I think the next level might be the most disgusting thing humanity has ever created. Let's start with the good news. We unlocked the first tier 4 barrack, the Paladins. These guys are defensive beasts with an increase in armor and health along with stronger swords. You also have the special upgrades of the Holy Strike, which damages an area of enemies, Healing Light, which lets them heal in battle, and Shield of Valor, giving them even more armor. They are tanky, and since we unlock them in this level, we usually get a nice and easy level tailored around them to show off their strengths. Unfortunately, we also unlock the Arcane Wizard. You're intended to use the barracks to tank a bunch of hits from enemies in massive suits of armor, while the wizards do all the damage and actually kill the knights. But we don't have that luxury. To start out, you're going to want to replay every level, heroic, and iron challenge you can to get the maximum amount of stars. You won't be able to complete 2 of the iron challenges as they ban barracks, but everything else is possible. This will get you 23 stars, and you'll immediately have to spend 15 of them maxing out the reinforcements. While this seems stupid, it's absolutely necessary, as in the Citadel they throw in some flying gargoyles and barracks unfortunately don't have bows, so we have to rely on the reinforcement spears. We do also have Valeria, but she is nowhere near good enough to take out all the gargoyles on her own. I then gave the Rain of Fire 2 upgrades to make it somewhat usable, and the Reinforcements 3 upgrades with my remaining stars. I died countless times at this level, so let's go over everything. Besides the gargoyles, pretty much every enemy is a high health and or high damage beast that takes forever to take down. The biggest problem for me was the Dark Knights, who have high armor and are a pain to kill. Even more annoying are these archers. They stay behind and shoot soldiers with a bow while staying just far enough away that I can't engage in combat. To take them down, I usually had to readjust my flag to target them, which then took more powerful soldiers away from the real fight. Super annoying. When things really start to suck are levels 11, 12, and 13, where they send out at least 30 Dark Knights along with archers and these big brigands to mess me up. I died here pretty much 90% of the time. The first time I made it through, I managed to have good luck, and a lot of the soldiers lined for a perfect rain of fire, although I still had to tank a ton of them to pass by. Through the next couple of waves, I leaked again and again until the boss came out and I was literally on 1 health. I honestly thought I was home free because the boss is usually easy, but I immediately got overwhelmed by the little gremlin metal balls and died. I tried again and again until finally the stars lined up for a good rain of fire and made it back to the end. I spammed the end of the level with reinforcements to not leak and used Illyria to deal most of my damage to the boss and managed to 3-star the level. You might wonder why I'm mad, and it's because it feels like a total RNG fest. I had basically the same defense every single time, but most of the times I died, and then sometimes I leak 0 lives and win. Why? Thankfully, the next level has consistently been the easiest level known to man. I don't understand why it's so easy, but I just upgraded 3 barracks until they were maxed out, and I 3-starred the level. After that, I finally had some amazing news. For one, I unlocked my favorite hero, Malik Hammer Fury, but I also unlocked the tier 4 tower, the Barbarian Hall. Even though the last level where we unlocked the tower was terrible, the Barbarians are cracked out of their mind. While they don't have any armor, they do have 50 more health than the Paladins and a lot more attack power. They also have the upgrade of more axes, which increases their attack by 30 hit points, making them an absolute beast. Then they have the Whirlwind attack, which damages a whole area, and Throwing Axes, which gives them a range attack and stops gargoyles from being such a problem. My strategy for this level is mostly the same as before, except I slightly spaced out all the Barbarians so that when one of them goes into combat, the rest can chuck some axes as backup. I fully maxed out 6 Barbarian halls and had a blast flying through this level with a crowd of shirtless men. The next level was a lot tougher, as I had to defend against 3 lanes and couldn't really create 1 choke point, and instead split my money between 3. On the top we have trolls, which aren't much of a problem as they don't have armor. With a couple of barbarians, I easily took them all out. Coming out of the cavern are generations of wolves that I mostly killed with reinforcements. But from the bottom comes the armored foes. The archers, Dark Knights, and all those other fun guys return. The Dark Knights aren't even that much of a problem anymore since the barbarians deal so much damage. But they brought their big brother, the Dark Slayer, whose profile picture shows him slaughtering barbarians. So needless to say, I was a little worried. Every time one of the Dark Slayers came out, I spent several minutes using Rain of Fires, which don't even come close to one-shotting him, and throwing every soldier I can at him until he dies. It's terrible, and I also don't have any resources to spare if something else breaks through, like trolls or the dudes with jetpacks. I haven't even talked about those guys yet. Not only are they flying enemies, they also have very large speed boosts after you hit them the first time, so they fly right past the barbarians trying to throw axes, and I just solely rely on reinforcements to take them all out. They cost me a life, but eventually I was able to make it to the final round and destroy the final boss with my axes. The waste is up next, and I had a very similar strategy. The left side has high health demons and skeletons, so I spammed a lot of barbarians up there. But I focused my hero and reinforcements on the right where all the armored enemies came out. I had an extremely close call in the last wave where I lost 13 lives in about 10 seconds, but I managed to 1-star the stage. I lost some lives on the next stage, but the strategy was the same, so I don't really feel like I need to go over it. Since I got 2 stars, I was able to max out every relevant star upgrade before heading into the Dark Castle and facing Veznan. I had a lot of close calls with massive groups of enemies, but for the most part, I just kept on spamming barbarians. I also realized another reason why this level didn't feel as bad. Veznan traps your towers in laser cages, and usually this means something. But in this challenge, it just means that soldiers can't come out. They're still being trained, so all it does is delay me for about 5 seconds, which is literally nothing. After Veznan came out, I tried my best to damage him. I rearranged barbarians to be able to throw axes at him most effectively while still not letting anything leak. I did manage to turn him into demon form about halfway through, but from there he blended into the crowd and took no damage for a solid 30 seconds. I tried my best to throw axes and use my hero well, and in the end I had a clutch rain of fire that saved the day and took out the beast. I've now beat this game with each of the towers solo, so let me know if you have any other challenge ideas down below. Watch another one of my videos on screen now, and have a great rest of your day.